Yo, it's the Ranch Fairy, and I do this. There's not another channel on earth doing this with those guys. So we did a full necropsy on a crazy hit, 200-yard blood trail, and here's the thumbnail from the video for the hog hunting championship. Aaron shot this pig last night, and blood trail was solid. It's really good. Go watch that video so you get some context on what I'm going to talk about here, because I'm going to say, hey, it hit this, hit that. Blood trail was a little longer, etc., and that'll connect the dots. But we did a necropsy on this, and following, you're going to see what happened with all the damage and a crazy wound in the liver from a single Bevel Broadhead that disappeared.
Warp ticket.
Stay tuned. Alright, so this is something you don't see every day, is some idiot gutting a pig and 98% humidity, and it's probably already 85 degrees out here. But we have to know, and this is what makes me weird, is I want to know stuff, and there's no other way to find out. Last night the video wouldn't have been very good. I want to see what Warb hit. Special. There's the one. Okay. Yeah. Yahtzee.
It's one of those deals where I put on a telephoto lens and stand back a ways.
Yeah, right. It's actually not. She's cold inside. It's weird. Daddy liver. Ooh. Okay, first nick of yum. He did hit the liver, thank God for that. Oh, no, that's the lobe. That's natural. But there is a little cut through the liver. There's the broadhead hole in the liver. It's U-shaped. That's awesome. See how the cut's not straight? Mm-hmm. But it's U-shaped.
Single bevel. Rotation.
Yep. It's even S-shaped. We'll get that out.
Yeah. Yep.
That's cool. All right, Mike. That was with the the Magnus head, right?
Yes, the one you guys sharpened the other day.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay, cardiopulmonary tree will be accessible here in just a second. I don't expect any cuts in the heart because the shot isn't low enough.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to tell if they're super thin and clean as the knife. It's really hard. Their heart sits. I mean, look how low that is. Look how low and forward it is.
That is wild.
Really low.
Yep.
And when you're shooting it, I mean, it's right there.
Yep.
And that's just physiology. Whether you want to believe it or not, there's the heart. That's the bottom of the heart. It's sitting like this. Most people think they sit like that. Heart's sitting like that. That's the bottom of it. It's no bigger than my fist, and it's right there. It's right there. And there's no getting past that. That's where it's at on every one of them. They're just really hard to, it's hard to make yourself shoot there.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Straight
out
up
there
the
that's
leg.
teaching you that, but this is where it's at.
Yep.
I did see somebody put up a pretty good post on a bear, and their vitals are way back. Like it was a hanging like I do.
Yeah.
And it was literally like starting here. So then that's just, God
wild.
likes us to go explore the world.
Yep.
How's that? He put tricks out there. Go do something, guys. Don't just sit around watching Instagram all day. That's boring. So every time you find an absolute. So for the other 99% of animals, you can shoot them straight up the leg. And I didn't believe that until I saw it. And once I saw it, I said, oh, that's what it is. Juicy. Juicy. This is the liver. Multiple lobes in the liver. It actually hangs off of the abdominal aorta in this fashion. But you, oh wow, double tap on it. Look at that. That I've not seen. That's a single bevel broadhead, and there's a flap in it. And then this exit is, look at the cuts over here. That's crazy. I've seen a lot of stuff, and then it's just straight through. That just comes from those bevels being, they're cutting on a bias. You can see right there, that is not a straight cut. It's angled. When you look at it like that, you can see that it's flat here, like it's vertical, and then it's like scalloped, like somebody laid a knife this direction. That is super interesting. Every one of these hits is different. And by the way, look how wide that is. It had to have entered, by the shape of that, it had to have gone like this and started rotating, I think. I wish I knew all this stuff. And then it kind of, well, given the way the hole lays out, which is straight through. All right, we're in the middle of the video now. You're not supposed to cut in and just randomly do stuff, but I don't plan. Sorry. There's a full sharpening video also on the Hunting Public channel, and this head was sharpened. This is the exact one that we sharpened on that video. Here's a thumbnail, shot of it, and go over to the Hunting Public channel and watch that. So Aaron sharpened this broadhead yesterday with me. We tested it, ran it through paper, stropped it, all that stuff. Really, and I said this in that video, the hardest thing, it takes the most effort, is arrow flight, and the most overlooked thing is broadhead sharpness and having some kind of standard that you're willing to live up to, because it's hard. Well, if you go to that video, we'll show you how to make it easy. And you can sharpen knives and everything else. So once again, here's that thumbnail of that video on the Hunting Public channel. And Aaron's going to sharpen this thing up and go out tonight with it. So we're going to see if we can get a double on the same broadhead. Got it? Sharpen your broadheads. Okay, back to whatever we were doing. The trouble with doing this is, if you were in broadhead sales, you would take this and you would stretch the liver like that, and you would say, "Look how wide that is." Well, the liver ain't stretched when it's in the animal. It's hanging there. So we actually don't know, perfectly what width it is. You can sell broadheads and go like that, or you can look at it and try to do your best. This little flapper on here is crazy because that's a 2-blade single bevel. You'd think that wouldn't occur. You would think it would just make a slice. Obviously the broadhead hit flat in this direction as it traveled through the liver.
Here's one.
Look at the wound. Broadhead hit like that. Look at this. Just little tongue.
Yep, that's crazy.
Sorry for the light. But. Oh. So we don't know if the liver, my estimation is that's about the wound width, right? Because this is a pretty pliable organ, so it's not going to really push, it's just going to give. And then the broadhead went through there. But because of the rotation, you're seeing this ditch in here. I mean, that is crazy. You wouldn't think that would happen with a 2-blade broadhead, but it does. And that's the extra cutting. So if you do this, if you were to figure out the surface area, we got some kind of person with an ability to measure this. You got to measure this flat edge space, all of this flat area, plus this extra little cut here and there, and this over here. Look at all the dings and nicks. Ed's going to be thrilled with this, actually. So right here we have a little scooped out spot. We have this long ridge going down the middle. This is why single bevel broadheads are devastating. They do that. What happens is, and I've talked to Ed about this, this wound's way wider. I've got it opened up, and don't get misled that the wound's this wide. This is for visual purposes only. But these organs that are more pliable, we're not going to see this in the lungs. No. Every time I say it's not going to happen, it might happen. But I do not expect to see it because they're super full of air, basically. This is a pretty dense but pretty pliable organ. So it gets on there, starts rotating, and like wrapping spaghetti around a fork, the meat grabs onto it and then pops, and you don't know what angles it is. But the total surface, this is all vascular, meaning all this cut is going to bleed. It's not just one slice through the liver. And by the way, Aaron, just because you're awesome.
Yep.
No, straight through the long way. We're trying to get the visual. Ooh. I'm a gross man. What the hell am I doing this with a pig? Ooh. Oh. Ranch fairy through the hole.
Daylight. Got it.
There's your thumbnail. There's your thumbnail.
That's why there was good blood trail there.
This really helps. And just the way the wound hit. The next one could be this way, and it ain't the same.
Right.
No hit is the same. This is why I've been doing this and go, okay, that one went 200 yards. That's a big wound in the liver. I mean, that is huge.
Yep.
That's cool stuff. And then this side, look at that. This side,
Chewed
once
it
again,
right up.
it's just chewed up. You got cuts.
That's pretty cool.
Here, there. And that's a 2-blade single bevel, torquing in the meat, and it's just popping off as it goes through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cutting on a bias. The edge is always cutting at an angle because it's an angled edge. That's really good stuff. Incredible, actually. That's wild. And if you want to know where the heart is,
Right behind that, huh?
right there.
Yep.
And it's tiny.
It is.
So this right here is from the broadhead. This is the diaphragm. The lungs and the heart are this way, and the guts are this way, and the liver sits right here on this side. So that's actually
been any more to the right.
no. So that's the cut through the diaphragm, and the liver would be sitting here, and then it gets cut. I don't know with where the placement is of that. If you hit, I don't know if you hit 2 lungs, despite the foam coming out of both sides. It may have just foamed out of both sides. It smells really good out here.
You bet.
I feel delicious. I will be taking a shower during the day. It smells delicious. The other trick is not nicking up the organs the whole time while you're trying to get them out and making extra cuts that are not accurate.
Don't see any cuts.
Not yet.
I think it might have just went right near me.
This is
Part of
the
a heart.
atrium ventricles. These are the little atriums on top. So it was oriented this way. Impact side is this side. Oh,
Yep, sliced the side of one of them.
I mean that is so that's from the broadhead.
Yep. Barely nicked one lung.
That's a pretty devastating nick. The interesting part about it is nothing in nature is really square, so this lung is kind of long and this one's a little shorter on this side and more vertical looking. And just the shape of them, look at that. It looks like you shot right, however it's oriented, just went right in here, went through there. Yep, that's definitely the broadhead.
Just nicked one lung liver.
That shape is hunky, and just to compare.
Yep. Just compare a knife cut.
Yeah, just a knife cut. That's what a knife cut looks like, just to make sure you guys are understanding. Look at that. I mean, it's kind of filleted open. Looks like the liver did, where it's got this circular shape. That's just, it looks like the point just hitting one edge, just nicked it. So that explains the foam. All right, so we had a impact that's 3 inches behind the crease and quartering in going that way. We ended up scuffing the backside or the lung and then smashing through the liver. And that's why it was a 200-yard blood trail.
Yep.
Because it was a liver hit. And it was a big wound liver hit.
Kind of thought it might have been one lung liver shot.
I'm surprised it's not.
Right afterwards.
I'm surprised it wasn't impact lung
right
through the liver.
Yeah,
That's how my head thinks about it.
I'm very surprised at how, it barely nicked that lung.
Right.
Barely.
But I think that's because this lung is tall looking.
Yeah.
And just look at the shape of it, right? So
I went right up the leg at the elbow, but the pig was moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I was doing is I was following that elbow as it was moving back, like that.
Oh.
Like I come up the leg as the leg was forward, had it right on the elbow on the low side, and followed it as that pig was taking a step and shot. And when it shot, legs go out like this to lock and take off
Lock
running.
and load, baby.
Yeah.
So you get mentally tricked.
Yeah.
Whereas your pig that you shot with me last year, Greg, I thought your exit wound was back further, and you went out the neck.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you don't. The blood trail was amazing on that one. Not to mention we didn't have to blood trail it, which is optimal. Nobody wants to blood trail. Well, some people do, but we prefer to just shoot them and go pick them up.
Yeah.
All
this
right.
was the longest one that we've had in a while.
Yeah, that was a long trail.
That was a long one.
I'm never
Good blood
encouraged.
trail. It's pretty
I'm
solid
never-
blood trail the whole
Never
time.
encouraged past 120 yards. It's when I start to worry.
Yep.
One thing to note too, there's no nosebleed.
Yep.
You generally, when you hit them,
When you hit the solid lungs, you're gonna have.
like through here, especially when you nick the heart, because all this blood goes into the trachea and starts blowing out the nose. And you'll see that in the blood trails, especially on pigs, because their head's low. You'll be tracking along, and if they start getting a nosebleed, everything will be in the trail, and it'll generally be in stripes, as opposed to last night it was kind of falling out of her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was
It was
coming out
dark
the sides
blood
of her.
too.
It was pretty dark. Now looking back, right? This is
Yeah.
where you look back at what you had. But the ones I've hit where they bleed out their nose, it's literally just right in the trail because their head's down and they're just running, and it'll be because they're breathing.
Yeah.
And it'll be spray. And another thing that's happened to me a lot is I've had really good blood trails, and some of the pigs I've shot that are short distance. Grant shot a pig back where you shot yours a long time ago. Killer blood trail, like a lot of blood, and it was quartering away. And we were going along, and there was no blood, and we were just like, and I've had this happen multiple times. Like it was a lot of blood, and then it's nothing. And I don't know what they're doing, but it's like when they decide to die, they'll just jump 20 feet that way. They just like, I think they just catapult in the air and go over there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And
yeah.
so if that ever happens and you got a lot of blood, and it's kind of like, that's crazy blood, and it stops, just start panning around, because they get miraculous last bailout jump.
Yeah.
Okay,
Interesting.
that is cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been gross, but it's good education. And every one of these is so different. It's just more data to put in your head. And if you'll do this, even if you're not educated on what, I mean, you can figure out the heart and lungs and the liver, right? Everybody's kind of seen them. If you were to, anything you gut, just take 5 minutes. And then remember the blood trail you had. And you'll start shooting them, seeing the impacts, and going, oh, that's probably X. It's good when you shoot the big boars that stink real bad. You just go downwind and start walking.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you go, I found a pig. I don't know where, but
He's there.
big deep breaths, breathing exercises. Hey, they work. Bye.